Say hi, Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
Well, I tee him up and he knocks him down. That's how Mr. Wayne and I do business.
Hello Internet, welcome to Games Done Wrongish. Today we will be taking a look at the PlayStation Plus PS4 offerings for January 2018. The titles are Batman the Telltale series, Uncanny Valley and Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Let's take a look. Batman the Telltale series is one of the best Telltale interactive story games I have played. Most people will already be familiar with the Telltale games, be it from the Walking Dead series, The Wolf Among Us, or many of their other titles that span from Game of Thrones to Borderlands. I am a huge Batman fan, especially the animated Batman movies, so this allows me to revel in that kind of genre of Batman. I also love the Arkham games, but always wish they would have a slower section of the game now and then, which allows you to play as Bruce Wayne in a different capacity to change things up. This game allows you to do exactly that, albeit in a much slower paced story style than an action game, but being able to play the character as Bruce Wayne and the Batman is something I really enjoy with this game. The combat in this game also seems to have been changed up a little from previous games like the Walking Dead series. As Batman, there seems to be more combinations of quick time button presses needed, such as holding left trigger and pressing square and so on at the right time. Usually it was just move to the prompts with the stick or hit or tap X, I think, in the older games, so things are becoming more involving, which seems fitting for a Batman game. As a huge fan of the animated Batman series and movies though, I do find myself sitting back often and just enjoying the story, which catches me off guard a lot when a sudden quick time event pops up and I need to act fast. The game also offers up some detective work. In these scenes you generally need to find a bunch of clues around the area and link them together to work out what happened and who may have committed the crime. There are also moral choices you need to make when apprehending or capturing a crook. Do you intimidate them by just threatening them, or do you break a bone or beat them into submission? If you go around causing harm to the criminals all the time, you will get on the wrong side of the police and also have your butler Alfred advising you that you are becoming the monster more than the myth of Batman. This kind of goes along with the Christian Bale Dark Knight trilogy movies, in which Batman is creating fear in all criminals as a way to try and prevent crime. The game does have its very own story and take on the classic supervillains such as Catwoman, Penguin and many more. The game has 31 trophies to collect over the 5 episodes. These are compiled from 15 bronze, 10 silver, 5 gold and 1 platinum for a total of 1,155 points. Each episode will take you around 2 hours or so to complete, so you're looking at maybe 10 to 12 hours to collect them all. Overall, I really like this version of Telltale's tried and trusted series of interactive story-based games. As with all Telltale games, the game is split over 5 episodes, which gives you the option to play for an hour or two, complete an episode and take a break before starting the next one. As this is Batman though, I am such a big fan I can hardly wait to play the next episode, even though I know it is going to come to an end and I don't even want it to ever end. Luckily there is the new series titled The Enemy Within to play after this one. If you like the Telltale games or Batman, give this one a go. It is one of, if not the best Telltale game out there. Uncanny Valley is a survival horror game styled in an 8-bit graphics type world. You start the game waking up in the street for some reason. As you move forward trying to get home, you suddenly start being followed by shadowy figures. These figures follow your steps at first, walking away from you if you approach them and following you when you walk away. After a little further they start to chase you and catch you. You then wake up in your bed, yet still in a nightmare it seems. Eventually you wake up for real and can start the game properly. You then meet up with a work colleague that is taking you to your new job as a security guard at a secret abandoned facility. You are told that it is a very simple job. Just be there and check the office floors once each evening by visiting the floors in the lift. Seems simple enough. The game seems to have a set amount of time that you are able to play each day or work shift. After a while your character will state that their shift has ended and they need to get some sleep. At this point you can either quickly head back to your room at the local facilities nearby to get some sleep, or keep on looking around until you finally drop to the floor and fall asleep anyway. Sometimes you will enter another nightmare scene, sometimes you won't. Either way you will wake up in your bed ready to start the next work day again. This loops for a while, giving you some time to get to know the areas and gather as many resources and perhaps weapons as you can before things turn ugly. The story sections and dream sections fill you in on your backstory. It seems that you were once a policeman that witnessed a murder. The cops at your station refuse to speak of it or investigate it, as it seems they are paid off by gangsters. The reason you are out in this remote location doing this job is because your life is at risk and you have been advised to get away as the police cannot do anything to help you. After a few days, the gangsters find your location. This is when things get weird. Something happens to the gangsters. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but you wake up again in the facility. During your work shifts, if you check the computers in the offices, you can find a larger backstory that advises you that the facility has been used to create lifelike AI androids that can act like humans and interact as a human. If you know the movie Ex Machina, it seems to have a very similar story to some degree. My initial playthrough lasted around 1 hour. I did not find a weapon in this time and was not entirely sure what was going on or what triggered the changes in the story. It starts out very weird and gets even weirder the longer you can survive. If you get taken out, the story ends and the credits roll. As with most survival horror games, the aim is to survive as long as you can to uncover the story and defend yourself against the horrors you are confronted by. The game has 55 trophies in total to collect. There are 42 bronze, 11 silver, 1 gold and 1 platinum, for a total of 1,230 points. Overall, this seems to be a very interesting game, something I will play over a few times on the Vita whenever I had some downtime. It's worth a download and a try to see how far you can get and how much of the story you can uncover. I have the feeling it may compel you to try again and again to see if you can stay alive and uncover the whole story. The Deus Ex games originated back in the year 2000 with the release of the original Deus Ex. It quickly got a cult following and was deemed a very good stealth-based RPG with some criticism on its outdated graphics at the time. It was still a relative success and as such it spawned a sequel titled Deus Ex Invisible War. Invisible War was not received quite as well, with a lot of players feeling let down by its story and gameplay. As such, that seemed to be the end of the road for the series for some time. Then, 8 years later, Square Enix released a new Deus Ex game titled Deus Ex Human Revolution. This catapulted the series back into the limelight, promising a much richer story experience with enhanced powers coming from augments and much more exciting stealth-based gameplay. In my opinion, they delivered on all accounts. As such, I would really recommend playing Human Revolution if you can before playing this game, Mankind Divided. If you cannot, it does not really matter, as this game allows you to watch a 12-minute introduction video at the start that fills you in on the backstory that came from the previous game. Alternatively, you can also choose to ignore the backstory and play this as its own game without any previous knowledge. I would advise either playing the first game or watching the video to set the tone though, as there is a lot that went down and it was a great story. As there were multiple ways to end Human Revolution, you will have to ignore any ending you may have chosen that contradicts what is now happening in this game and just go with it. In both games, the story revolves around humans using augmentation implants to either replace lot slims or just enhance your human abilities for a better standard of life. This has caused concern and outrage from some of the general public, as they see augmented humans as unnatural and a threat to the human race. It is understandable to some degree, as a lot of these augments are purchased on the black market and can often be used as weapons for ill gains. Your character is named Adam Jensen. In the first game, Human Revolution, you were the chief security officer for a huge biotech company named Seraph Industries. The company comes under attack early in the game, and as such you get caught in the crossfire and need to have radical augmentation surgery to keep you alive, which then also grants you new powerful abilities. These augments offer you the ability to have a heads-up display that allows you to survey the surrounding area. You get augments to your body parts such as legs, back and arms that allow you to run faster, fall from higher ledges without being hurt, take more damage from gunfire, scan and hack locks, computers and terminals, and much more. In this game, Jensen is now using his augmented abilities to track down illegal weapon and augmentation trading with Interpol, to try and clean up crime and help augmented people live peacefully alongside regular people. If you have played Human Revolution, you may be familiar with the augments and how they work at the start of this game. However, as it is a new game, they use the story to allow you to uncover secret extra augments that have been hidden within Jensen. This adds a few more options over the first game, however initially this comes at a cost. In order to use the new augments, you will need to shut down some of the older augments you may have become accustomed to. This is explained to you in a small sort of tutorial which advises you that Jensen only has so much power available at the start and therefore needs to change things up to be able to power the augments he wants to use while deactivating any he does not. You are, however, advised at this point that there may be a way to get your hands on a greater power source that will allow you to activate all of the augments at once. You also collect crafting parts throughout the levels in this game which allow you to upgrade the weapons you are carrying and using. These upgrades allow you to change things such as ammo type, fire rate, stability and so on. This all adds up to a very involving role-playing portion of the game. Managing your inventory, weapons and augments can really change the course of how you play the game and how you engage in combat. Which brings me on to the combat and stealth options. As with most stealth-based action games, stealth is going to be the easiest and least threatening way to get the job done most of the time. As such, you are given options in the early parts of the game to run through multiple training scenarios as you are progressing the story that will show you how to use cover and your abilities to make the most of them in any situation. Personally, I always start every scenario out trying to be as sneaky and silent as possible. However, as I am not that good at stealth-based games, each and every time the end of the scene always turns into a full-on gunfight for me. If this happens early in the scenario, I can find myself heavily outnumbered fast and on the back foot, which is why I always try to thin the herd a little via stealth before the inevitable gunfight starts. Once you have triggered the enemies, it is usually best to try and find a high vantage point or some good cover and pick them off one by one from a distance, saving your melee abilities to take down any enemies that may manage to get in close. Using a takedown ability does require resources, so you cannot just stay in one spot using melee to take down every enemy as they come round the corner over and over. I tried this and did not have the resources to take down the enemy, and as such I ended up with a shotgun blast to the face which finished me off. Using the entire room, moving and shooting when you get a good angle is usually the best way to survive. Staying in cover at all times is also a very good idea. If you are good at stealth games though, you may be able to complete each and every encounter without ever firing your weapon. You can often change the ammo in your weapons and grenades to make them non-lethal, and as such use sleep darts and sleep gas type grenades to knock out the enemies if you want to go for a completely non-lethal approach to the game. I know I will never be able to pull this off, so I just try to do what I can stealthy and shoot up the rest. The story is very lengthy with some very long cutscenes woven into it. If you are the type of gamer that just wants to be playing the game and not watching cutscenes or interacting with the world to find out more about it and its main story, then you may not enjoy this game as much as I do. The game does not hold your hand too much. It will give you a marker for the current objective, however, how you get there and how you approach the scene is entirely up to you. There will often be multiple ways to enter a building, for instance. Sometimes all you need to do is get through unseen to continue the story. If you have played the recent Hitman games over the last 10 years or so, this will be familiar in a sense. The game has 82 trophies to collect, comprising of 64 bronze, 15 silver, 2 gold and 1 platinum. The estimated playtime to collect them all is around 40 to 50 hours. Overall, I think this game is a great title, especially when you get to play it for free with your PlayStation Plus subscription. If you spend the time to hack every computer or laptop in the game, you can find a huge amount of backstory and lore within it. In an age when many major developers are stating that single-player story-based games are not what gamers want anymore, it is a breath of fresh air to get 3 single-player story-based games to play via the PlayStation Plus subscription like we have this month. I for one love single-player story games. I also enjoy multiplayer games, be it competitive shooters or MMOs, however when I want to kick back and relax there is nothing better than a single player adventure such as this game, in which you can just enjoy the story while enjoying a deep RPG and combat system. It's the ultimate single player package for me. That wraps up this month's PlayStation Plus overview for Games Done Wrongish. I have thoroughly enjoyed making this video and trying out these games. I think Sony are doing a fantastic job with this service over the past few months. Getting these 3 games this month, Darksiders 2 last month and Metal Gear Solid 5 earlier has been great. I hope it continues and cannot wait to see what we are given next month. Join me again then when we will go over the offerings once again. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, then give it a thumbs down. But please try to leave some constructive feedback in the comments below this video so that I can try to make more enjoyable content for you in the future. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe by clicking on the icon in the middle of this screen. To learn more about the channel, you can click the What is Games Done Wrongish video on the left, or you can visit my website at www.gamesdonewrongish.com. Thank you, and until the next time, goodbye.